Hello, welcome back. It's Robbie, and you're watching the Sunshine Archives. So I recently went to Half Price Books, and I got 3 books. And I also sold so many of my books. Currently have about 700 physical books on my TBR, and I got rid of 80 of those, and I made $100 at Half Price Books and bought a couple of books with it. So in order to make this more interesting and match the Sunshine Archives, I've decided to make it a Commonplace video where I open to a random page. We also practice a little bit of Bibliomancy and bring back my tarot roots. So we flip to a random page, see if it rings a bell in my life, and then commonplace it into a theme or category in my Commonplace box. And if you want to know a little bit more about my commonplacing system, you can watch the first video on this channel. Before I get into this, I want to show you a little spread that I made for my A5 binder. I've tried to use this binder many times, and I think I finally figured out a way. I'm laughing because what if this is the one and only thing I ever make in here and then never make something again? But for the time being, I want a memory keep in my binder. So I created a little spread using Megan Rhiannon's template for A5 and Procreate, where I talk about the books that I got, about the day, about what we sold. There's the receipt. And yeah, that was my day. It was a cloudy 66-degree day yesterday. All right, so the first book that I picked up were the Diaries of a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. I've only ever read Letters to a Young Poet and loved it. I've only read it once, and I think I own 2 of his other books. So these are the Rainer Maria Rilke's on my TBR that I have not read. His poems, a fiction, and these are his notebooks, his diaries. If you know me, you know that I love a primary source, and if you don't, I love a primary source. Letters, diaries, I don't know, what else is there? Journals, is that the same thing? I love archives, so I love seeing and reading and experiencing the ways that people collected their life. Let's flip through a random page and see what the book has in store for us. Tell us something, Rilke. When I read this to you in the America House, do you remember my saying? Yes, everything that has truly been seen must become a poem. I love that. I love that. I could put it under writing, but I think I want to make a category titled poem or poetry to put that in. Isn't that all that art is? It's our experiences, what we experience and take in with our senses and our emotions. Everything that has truly been seen must become a poem. I'll place that under P. Poem number 1. Isn't that so beautiful? Because to truly see someone or see something, you have to really take it in. And what's a better way to take something in than to create art from it? Whether you're taking a picture or drawing or writing a poem, you really have to examine it so deeply that it almost becomes a part of you. So that's beautiful. I'm excited to read his notebooks. Okay, here we go. Well, where did I put poem? LMNOP. Preludes, prayer, poem, and poetry. And then the next 2 books. One is from Fernando Pessoa, because I've always wanted to read him. I used to own the Book of Disquiet and then gave it away because I used to be very impulsive about getting rid of my books, because you know when your TBR just stares down at you and then also you have all these books you want to buy and then things don't fit on your shelf, so then you get nervous. Yeah, that happens to me. But I just never got to read it, and I am absolutely, fully, and completely obsessed and enamored with Lie Spectre, and I am always seeking that kind of surrealist stream of consciousness writing. I don't think anyone can actually do the Spectre justice, but I've seen her compared, or not her compared, there is no comparison, but people comparing Pessoa to be kind of Clarice-esque. Let's see. Fernando Pessoa lived most of his life in Portugal, died in obscurity. Here with no other Apollo than Apollo, unsighing, let us abandon Christ and the fever of seeking a dualistic God. I think Clarice would have agreed with that, especially in Agua Viva. We have this like existentialism and the complete full and utter silence of God, and like being afraid of that silence, and is there really anything out there? Oh, and it's annotated! Don't you just love used books for that very reason? Their smell, their color, but most importantly, the annotations and the marginalia. So we can put this under God. Do I have a God? It would be strange if I didn't, but I don't know if I do. I do have a God category. And we have 2 cards under the God category. So this would be the 3rd. Let's use my little baby Blackwing that we have here. So the 3rd under God. Let us abandon Christ and restore the ancient feeling of life. So friggin' good. Okay, number 3 in God. There it goes. And the last book from the half-priced books book haul is a collected poems of Sylvia Plath. Again, a book that I owned and gave away. Don't judge me, okay? So I have a lot, almost all of Sylvia Plath's books, and I want to do a project where I read her journals, her poems, and her letters chronologically. So these start like in her childhood, and this is her going into college, and then while she's in college she produces poems, and I want to see like how the life transcends and mimics and portrays, like is portrayed in the art. Like the way that she talks to herself is different than the way that she talks to her mom, is different than the way that she talks to the public. And just it was the missing piece in this project, and I'm so happy to have this really beautiful edition of it. It's just so nice. They had another one there that was also paperback, it was like yellow, but I just liked this one the best. Such a good sound. Okay, Sylvia Plath, here we go. How the elements solidify. The moonlight, that chalk cliff, in whose rift we lie, back to back. I hear an owl cry from its cold indigo. Intolerable vowels enter my heart. Okay, I think I'm gonna do the second line, the one about moonlight, and place it under moon. I have 3 under moon, so let's do 4. And then I'll use another pen. This is my Esterbrook SD. I think it's called Orchard Garden, and this has Diamine Desert Bursts in it, and it's a journaler nib by Gina. So this would be number 4, moon. I love this ink and this nib specifically for the way that I write. I think it just makes it look so pretty. All right, the moonlight. The moonlight, that chalk cliff in whose rift we lie, back to back. To me, this is giving danger, right? Because it's a cliff, it's chalky, it's not the most comfortable, but it's made comfortable by love, because you are lying back to back with someone, with love, even if it's just the moon. how scary things don't have to be so scary when you have the safety of love with you. So that's the moon. So we had the moon, we had God, and we had poetry. Beautiful. That was my book haul. Diaries of a Young Poet, Fernando Pessoa's selected poems, and Sylvia Plath's collected poems. Now for the bibliomancy aspect, I think it's just so fascinating to reflect on why I picked those quotes in the first place. It's kind of like with tarot where, yes, it could be like universe and energy speaking to you, but it could also just be how you reflect the stories that are in the pictures, how you kind of connect them to your own personal life. I think that says a lot about like what you're going through or like what you imagine your future to be. It kind of shows your dreams to you too, in a way. Kind of like your subconscious reflected back to you, to your conscious mind. I think I am very connected to the moon and astrology and all of that. I am very much in love. I am consistently questioning spirituality, God, religion. Sometimes I'm like all in and sometimes I'm all out. So I always am drawn to religious imagery and religious terms. And poetry is something that I want to try. Again, it's something I'm always trying. It's something I'm always trying to live and embody, and feel very, very embarrassed to talk about or say like, I'm a poet. Like, no, you're not. It's something it's a dream I love and want, and also one that I am ashamed of. So when the book was like, it felt like just write the poem. Like, you're living, so write. It kind of felt like a strong, some tough love that I needed to hear. So that's my bibliomantic, if that's even a word, reflection. I do need to read my other Rilkes, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I've only read a total of 5 books so far this year. I'm a very, very slow reader, but you know what? I'm a reader that enjoys what they read. I don't even finish books often, but I do commonplace them, and I also DNF a lot, and that's okay. Thank you so much for watching the second video of the Sunshine Archive, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!